God who's been so great. I lift my voice and sing, sing, Hosanna to my King. It's time to celebrate. My God who's been so
Good
great.
evening, welcome.
I lift my voice
Welcome.
and sing, sing, Hosanna.
Today is a great day. Our guests today are going to shed some light about our families and our marriages. So welcome everyone. I hope you had a beautiful day. So I will start off by reading the Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. I'm reading from the Amplified Bible. And it says, now the Lord God said, it is not good, sufficient, satisfactory that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper, suitable, adapted, complementary for him. So thank you for joining us. So our topic today is guided by that. And my name is Jennifer. I am the founder and CEO of Zahra Karin. We sell bottled drinking water. So my guests today are Dr. Wale and Pastor Taiwo, who will be sharing with us about their marriage journey, 32 years of marriage. So you're welcome, Dr. Wale and Pastor Taiwo.
Thank you.
So good to have you here.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
All right, so let's start. If I may ask, yeah, I've seen at 32 years, this will be your 32nd year, and you still call each other baby, darling, all those sweet, sweet names that we hear. Then you hold each other hands, at a distance of maybe 10 meters, going to the pool, you're holding hands like one of you is about to run away. And, all this, you're behind each other, following each other in the house. Now that everyone else has left, it's just the two of you. So this is something that normally happens to couples when they meet, those first 2 weeks, they're still in love, they're getting to know each other. So 32 years later, how are you still doing this thing? So please share with us, take us through the journey of how you met and, when you've now started planning the journey of marriage and starting a family. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're best friends. This is my best friend. So and we're best friends, we're lovers, we're companions, we enjoy each other's company. So we consciously cultivate our relationship. Whatever you see us doing, it's not accidental. We've committed to it, we love each other, and so we show it. My husband is more of a touchy person, so so whenever you see us holding hands going to the pool, that's him wanting to hold my hand, so I don't know, so I don't follow. We met when I was in high school. Over 40 years ago, but I didn't know him then. I just saw a guy that looked very suspicious. A friend of mine had come to see me, and apparently he had come to show me off to two of his friends. So he told me to walk him to the car, to walk him to his car. So I walked him to the car, and I noted that there was a guy at the back who was slouched. His eyes were slits, were red. And I made a conscious note that I must warn Fred, whoever this guy is, must avoid him. Who knew that guy would become my husband, I don't know, like 10 years later. So that's the first time I saw him. But the next time we met, when I didn't remember then, he reminded me of the first time he saw me, that it was that time. So I didn't know that it was that guy. The next time we met, I was in university, and I was not a Christian. He was not one either. I met him. He was performing in an auditorium. People were screaming his name, girls were shouting. I was wondering, who is this guy? So that's the next time I saw him. And then a few months later, I see him in fellowship, because apparently he became a Christian, and I go born again as well. And then as time went on, I joined the choir. It was like, you know, my husband is into music. So he was head of the choir and I was a member of the choir, and then I became his assistant. And so we became really good friends. But in university, there was nothing. We were just friends. There was nothing at all. Then after uni, like a year after uni, he had a recording that he was going to do, and he wanted some of the voices that he had worked with on campus to be part of that project. So he called me and asked me if I was available, and I was like, yes. So, and cut a long story short, it was after that that we now got into a relationship.
Yeah, Taiwo has said it all. Jennifer?
So for you, you saw, you liked, and you decided to make the move.
Well, I guess it was a bit more than that, because by now we had become Christians, and so we were very conscious of destiny. We're very conscious of vision, you know, and that was going to play a major role. Yeah.
Okay, you're going to be 32 years in marriage this year. Statistics show that only 26% of people alive make it to the 30th year. In some places, that figure is about 12%, is as low as 12%. So what are the foundations for a long, happy marriage, even before one says I do?
I think that what happens, a lot of times what happens with relationships is that people, you meet someone, you like them. Marriage is, for many people, is based on hormones. Huh? It's based on hormones. I love you, I want you, I like how you look. Hormones cannot carry a marriage the long term. You will both look good. I always joke and say that when we first met, my husband had something close to a six-pack, and my waist was 24. If you've ever seen it before, I don't know if you can even imagine that. So, and as the years have gone by, you don't, if you married the figure, if you married the hair, if you married the six-pack, if you married whatever, a time will come when those things will not be there. So you're going to be in trouble, because if you marry for appearances, appearances change. And so marriage is more than how you look. It's great that you love each other, but marriage takes a lot of work. You know, when you say that we're married for 32 years, it's not like magic. It's not like even we don't know what happened. That's not the truth. We have worked intentionally at our relationship. We do, and we continue to work intentionally at our relationship. We're not doing anything accidentally. We are conscious. Even when there is no need, we go the extra mile for each other. We understand that marriage takes work, and we've committed to doing the work that is required to have, you know, a happy home.
And I think there's one word that I think is very, very important in building a home, and it's the word compromise. It's the word, and that is the fact that it must not always be my way. It must not always be my way. I'll give you a very simple example. I enjoy Hello, can everybody hear me? No sound?
Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me? 1 second. Can you hear me? It's okay now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right. You know, Taiwo enjoys watching cooking shows. She enjoys watching romantic stuff and all that, you know. I don't like that. Well, I can manage, but I'm not really given to to that. Just 1 second. Let me correct this. Let me get this. All right. I hope everybody can hear me well now.
Yes, it is.
You can hear me well?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Dr. How are you? So Taiwo enjoys watching cooking shows, romantic things, and all that. And she always accuses me. I love watching documentaries, Men Who Built America. You know, these are the things I like to watch. I like real things, you know, documentaries. She loves cartoons, you know. So I'm just giving, this is a very, very basic example of what compromise is. So we don't have the same taste. And that, you know, to be married, you don't, and to be happy, you don't need to like the same things. But in our differences, we must find commonality. And so what did we do? We found out that there is one area where we enjoy together, and that is action movies.
It was a bit of a revelation that
Let me fix this mic. Just hold on.
So as Doc is fixing that, if you have a question, kindly put it in the chat box and we are able to ask him.
All right. So we found out that we love action movies. And that became the thing we watched together. Now, as we began to do that, then you find out that occasionally she will find something in one of her cartoons or whatever, and okay, I can spare a few minutes. And likewise, she does the same thing to me. So compromise is very, very important, that it's not got to be my way. We must, within the context of our differences, find our way. All right? Then another thing that's very important is the word compatibility. Compatibility. And I found out that there are different levels of compatibility. 1 second. Different levels of compatibility. Okay? One level of compatibility is we are emotionally compatible. So there is emotional compatibility. That means we connect with each other. We connect with each other's emotions and all that. There is spiritual compatibility. And when I say spiritual compatibility, this is important because we believe the same way. Can you imagine if I am believing that, oh, I need to give, and she does not believe that way? Then we're going to have a bit of friction there. And you know, spirituality becomes a very, very sensitive thing. So there is emotional compatibility, there is spiritual compatibility, there's intellectual compatibility. Now, intellectual compatibility, I think that's very, very important in the sense that we must be able to connect together, you know, because you see, what causes a lot of problems is the husband is maybe the guy, he's talking about, you know, certain things, and his wife is totally clueless. Let me give you a perfect example. Guy comes from a busy day, he gets home, and once he's home, he reads his newspaper, has his dinner, he's tired, and all that. Then the phone rings, and it's a friend of his. And suddenly that guy that looked like he was tired and all that comes back to life. Yes, Now, you know what has happened? That person has touched a nerve that is not being touched at home. And this is important. A lot of people lose their homes on the platform of not being intellectually compatible. So there is social, then that final one is social compatibility. You know, so those are 4 areas: spiritual compatibility, emotional compatibility, social compatibility, and intellectual compatibility. Now, if those things are not aligned, we might have some problems. All right. So it's good. That's even a very, very good checklist. And if you're going, again, compromise, if you're going to make adjustments so that at least you find commonality in those things, then it will do your marriage a lot of good. And even before you get married, these are some of the things you are looking at that will help you. Okay, Jenny?
Thank you very much for that. So my next question would be, what are the roles of men and women in marriages? How do couples make the expectations reasonable and clearly understood? Given now the community that we are in, if you compare the European community, women are comfortable going to work and men sit at home and take care of the kids. So an African setting towards that, what would you say about it? You've noticed our men are not putting as much effort as the women are. Women have taken up roles, corporate roles, more than men are willing to.
All right. Well, before I answer that question, let me give you some context. As somebody who has lived, my early childhood was in England, and I've lived in America. So I have had the privilege of exposure on different levels. My mother was teaching, and she had 2 unique experiences: teaching in school for the masses, and then teaching in very exclusive schools in England. And she said something which I have noticed, and that is a lot of what Africans want to copy is the gutter behavior of the Western world. A lot of what we want to, people, I say, yeah, we are with it. It is the commoner, the behavior of the commoner. When you look at the aristocracy, you find out that it's a totally different way of thinking. And that's why you look at some of these rap artists and all that, that when they started, they are, you know, but as they begin to rise, their behavior begins to change. So that said, we must be very careful what we copy. All right? We must be very, very careful. Now, so going back to what you said, I take my bearing from the Bible. It says, a man who cannot provide for his household is worse than an infidel, and he has denied the faith. Did you hear that? He is worse than an infidel, and he has denied the faith. That is not me. That is Bible. Okay? So then you brought up a scripture when you started that is not good for man to be alone. I will create a helpmeet. The compatibility that is spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and social. All right? Social. So now, when we first got married, let me tell you something. When we first got married, what scripture? 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. That's what I subscribe to. All right? If a man does not provide for his own, especially those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. All right? Now, let me give you an example. Let's flash back. Remember the Queen Elizabeth. She's the head of state. She's royalty. But do you know her husband had roles he was also playing? Okay? So what am I saying? She is my helpmeet. Okay? When we first got married, she was the one that had income. All right? She was the one that had income. I was trying to find my feet. Do this here, do this here. I didn't have any income. Taiwo was the one. But she did not rub it in my face. All right? If anything, she honored me with it. So, and let me tell you what caused a lot of problems. Women, when they are doing well and they have the upper hand, and they despise the guy, the day that guy gets his breakthrough, he's going to find a replacement for you. It is so simple. Because we never forget how we were treated when we were down. We don't. We never forget how we were treated when we were down. This period when after my health issue and I had a heart attack and I was not working, I will never forget those who were there for me. Is somebody hearing me right now? So we don't forget. If the woman, even if she is working, man, get off your behind and find something to do. Find something to do. Create something. Start a YouTube channel and be singing blah, blah, black sheep. Just do something. Don't just sit down there and your wife will now come. And this is the anointing. Every man knows, wives, submit to your husband. If you want to claim superiority on a gender level, then be ready to claim superiority on a provision level. You cannot claim gender superiority and at the same time, financially, you are not doing anything. It's not going to work. You want to say something?
That is so powerful that if you claim that you are the head of the home, then the head of the home should be able to provide for the home. So if you cannot provide for the home, it kind of questions, it makes your headship questionable. And you see, it's not a bad thing if there are seasons, there are seasons when the man is down and the woman just work as a team. So what my husband was saying, when we first got married, I was the one who had, a steady job. I had income. So we used what I was earning to survive. But I didn't rub it in his face like, look, you said that you're a man, you married me, and say I'm the one who is doing all the work. We worked together. I understood that it was temporary. And I think that a lot of couples, but a lot of women forget that you're supposed to be in a team. So when you have, my husband always says this thing about how his money is his money, but his money is our money, but my money is mine. That's not what I do. So if I have something, I'm not hiding it from my husband. It's fine for him to think that particular way, but I should be responsible enough to know that because we're a team, if we're doing something and there is a need, I don't have money and keep it and hide it. I look for ways to back up what he's doing. I don't keep what I have and watch the man, suffer and go through a hard time because he's supposed to be providing. But I think one of the things that happens is that women, once they rise into prominence financially, begin to look down on their husbands.
Big mistake.
And then there's also the part where men, once their wives have enough money, think that they can relax. You cannot relax. Even if you're not earning the same as much as your wife, you are the head of the home. Be doing something. Make yourself useful. And I don't mean by sweeping the floor and washing clothes. No, I mean, go out and look for something to do. Don't be content with the fact that she's making enough money for both of us and then do nothing.
I remember listening to a guy once. This guy said, hey, I've come from a Kenyan guy. He said, I came from poverty. I refused to marry into poverty. He said it confidently, and he looked for a rich girl to marry. Now, let me tell you one thing I found out. A lot of African men, and maybe we should have been having this as a men's meeting. A lot of African men, a lot, not all, most definitely, not all, but a lot of African men don't know how to handle a woman that does not need them. All right? And so what happens is that once that woman is becoming, she's independent, she's this, then what begins to happen? The man wanting to show, he doesn't have money, but wanting to show his superiority now begins to put her down and, become a domestic terrorist to her, So it is, remember where I started, that we need to be careful where we are getting our values from. And it has been clear that a man, if he claims to be the head of the home, we are not saying have all the money, but we are saying do not sit down depending on what your wife can do. And if you don't know what you can do, that's why we have these programs. Write to us. Tell us, I'm a guy, I don't know where to start. Then we will help you. All right?
I think that it is a shame for a man to do nothing and be comfortable watching his wife do everything and feel nothing, use her resources, spend her money. It is our money, it's not her money. But it becomes irresponsible when you're not doing anything and you are, I know of someone who would use the car that was his wife's car. And if his wife asked him for a ride, he felt insulted and would begin to say, is it because it's your car? So is it because
Can you imagine?
I should give you a ride because I'm using your car. So the wife would go to use
a matatu,
use
public transport.
That's irresponsible. Because if you love your spouse, whether it is male or female, you're going out and either spouse has a car. It's unthinkable that the person doesn't have the car, who doesn't own a car, uses public transport, and the one who owns, uses the car. So now imagine a situation where I have a car, I give it to you, and now I cannot ask for a ride because if I do ask for a ride, the man is offended. It's irresponsible, and I think that a lot of men take this to an extreme because they know the women want to keep their homes. So because the woman wants to keep her home, she's held ransom, you know, so she has to be doing everything because the man gives the impression that, look, there are many girls out there, you know, I don't have to. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible.
I know of another one that when the Kenya Power people, a guy sits at home, he's watching TV, the wife has gone to work. When the Kenya Power people come to disconnect power, he calls his wife.
At work.
Have you paid for power? Who does that? Who does that? Have you paid for power? These guys are here. And the sweet girl, she will quickly do the M-Pesa pay. When DSTV is off, did you pay for DSTV? You know, there is a fundamental problem in that structure. All right? So be careful so we're not imbibing the worst of the West. Because remember, these people that we are talking about, they have homeless benefits. So it's not as if the man has nothing. They will have benefits that they can claim and all that. You know, I remember I was in London and I saw these guys, beautiful musicians in Tube Station, and I wanted to put them together and record an album for them because they were so good. And it was all going to be funded. Do you know they turned it down? And do you know why they turned it down? They said if they did that album, then it will be on record now that they have a source of income. So they will not be able to get the benefits from the government. So even that guy who is sitting at home has benefits. Then the African mumu doesn't now come and you want to sit at home. Nothing is, you know, and then you now begin to lord it over. Your insecurities now come out. Is it because it's your car? Of course it is. Jennifer, over to you.
That topic really got you fired up. I even forgot who was now the host and who was the guest. So, so thank you for that. I saw a question on the chat that I want to ask you. So for those planning to marry, what is the best age for marriage? And should there be an age gap between the couple? 5, 10 years? Should there be a gap?
What is the age for marriage is the age of responsibility. It is not a number. The age for marriage is not a number. It is a mindset, responsibility. Kenneth Hagin was 18 when he got married to his wife. She was 17. And they got married. They stayed married until he died at 88. You know? So it's got nothing, you know, it is responsibility and accountability. When you have those, then, and of course, like we're saying, when you are able, look, God gave man work to do. He gave him work to do, be fruitful, multiply, do this, do this, do this. He gave him the Garden of Eden, he had tilled the land. He had given him all that. Then he said, it's not good for man to be alone. So the wife came after the guy has been given work. So you have no business looking for a wife if you have no work you are doing. If you have no income you are bringing, you have no business looking for a wife. You know, so that's why I say it is the age of marriage is not a number. It is responsibility, accountability. That's the age of marriage. Now, you said, should there be a gap and all that? Taiwo and I always make fun of her that we are not mates. But the truth is, the gap between us is
a month and 5 days.
1 month.
So but it doesn't mean respect him any less. It doesn't mean that he's immature. You know how some girls say that they like to marry older men because older men are more mature. I'm sure you've heard that. It doesn't. You can marry a 60-year-old man who is an irresponsible baby. You can marry someone who is younger, who is responsible. So the important thing is to do your homework, and hopefully you know God and pray about it. Do your homework and be sure that this person is committed to the relationship in the long run. I noticed a lot of men, particularly in right now, are holding their wives ransom. It's almost like trying to communicate that, look, there are many girls out there. So if you don't play ball, you know, if you don't spend your money on me, if you don't do whatever, I mean, there are many women out there. It's irresponsible to think that particular way, you know. If you marry because you love somebody, so that love has no price on it. I cannot quantify in financial terms how much I love my husband or how much I'm committed to him, but I can show how much I love him by my respect for him, by my deferring to him, by my, you know, listening to him, by us being a team. Something happened before we came on the show right now. I was going to send, I had actually sent a message to someone, and the message I sent had the potential to cause trouble, to cause a fight in the future. This is family stuff back home in Nigeria. And my husband said, don't do that. If you do that, it's going to cause chaos and confusion. We're trying to deal with something. And so what did I do? Immediately, I deleted the message because I realized what he's saying is the truth. We're a team. So he corrects me if I'm going off in error. I listen to, and when I have something to say, if I say, baby, I'm thinking of something, my husband is all alert when I say I want to say something, because we're a team. So I understand that there are areas where I may not see around the bend where he can. There are areas where I can, where he can. So we respect each other's opinion. Marriage is teamwork. Marriage is not the big boss right there on the big throne, and then all the citizens, all the what do you call them?
Subjects.
All the subjects are rolling on the floor. If that's what makes you as a man feel that yes, you're the head of this home, there is a problem. Because I respect my husband, I respect him incredibly, but my opinion counts. If I say I want to say something, everything stops. Yeah, tell me what you want to say, because my husband understands that whenever I bring up something, it's not just something, it's something important that will affect where we're going as a team. So we're a team. We work at being a team. And as much as I respect him, he respects me as well. We work as a team. And it's important that you understand that, you know. I think that many couples don't work hard enough at their marriages. A lot of marriages that break is because people don't do the work they should have done. So if you did not do the work in this home and you might marry somebody else, it will not automatically work because this guy appears to love you more or has more money. The work that, let me put it this way, when we got married, we didn't have anything. Okay, yeah. It says, I mean, I had some income, but it wasn't like we had a lot of money. We didn't have anything. But as the years have gone by, we have grown as a couple. We have grown emotionally. We have grown mentally. We've grown socially. We've grown financially. We've grown as a couple, so that we can complement each other. We have grown together. And I feel that a lot of couples bow out. A lot of ladies bow out too early. You know, marriage is like wine. The longer you stay in a home, get to know each other better. The longer you stay in that home, the better the marriage becomes, because you understand each other better. You can, and because you are both actively giving to your relationship, you are both actively working in making it better. If every couple that is married would do that, would have less divorces and will have more happiness.
And let me tell you another thing, you know, and I don't know why I'm really speaking to guys today, you know. Maybe we should have a guys meeting. Now, you want to, yeah, you know, funny enough, I think, and I've done this before, I think when you have ladies meetings, I think men should be the ones to speak. And then when you have men's meetings, I think women should be the one to come and speak, you know, because if you don't have it that way, what you have is not going to be properly balanced, you know. It's going to be based on assumptions. But let me talk to the guys. You see, there was an age where, as a guy, we did the chasing. Okay? there was an age we did the chasing where see girl, like girl, you know, show girl you like her. Now, you get to a stage in your life as a man where you are no more doing the chasing. You know that thing, hunter hunted. You become the chased. Where, let me tell you something. I'm a grandfather. There's nowhere I go that some woman somewhere is not trying to make an advance, try to speak, whatever to me. They will be there. One day I asked Taiwo, I said, all these girls that are always around and, you know, I said, don't you even feel anything? She laughed. She said, if they saw you when I saw you, they won't have looked at you. She said, what they are looking at is my investment. So you are going nowhere. Now, you see, that is a level of security that can keep any man humble. You know, so guys get excited that, hey, this girl is coming. It is the age. Once you are married, it shoots up your stocks. Because once you are married, people look at you as responsible. They want someone to look after them, some of these people, you know. So if you now get it into your head that, yeah, you know, that you will pay for it in your old age. I don't know any nicer way to say it. You will pay for it in your old age. Because you see all those butterflies that come, they will fly away. They will fly away. If I was not married to Taiwo, I would have died on the 11th of August. Okay? Because spiritual compatibility again, she knew exactly what to do. And when we talk of, you know, these levels of compatibility, because I just can't seem to get away from that, you know, because my wife and I connect intellectually also, there is nothing I want to share with anybody outside that I can't share with my wife. In fact, my wife is on such a high intellectual level that I can't wait to get home. So, but now that we're the only two at home, what do? We travel, we go everywhere together. Anybody that wants me, you have to pay for two people, you know, because she stimulates me intellectually, spiritually, socially. Is somebody hearing me? Emotionally. Very, very important. Now, ladies, I will come to you now. If you are one of those people, your husband is on the phone. Who was that? And then you are checking his phone. You want to know what? Let me tell you, he's going to run from you. He will run so fast, you will not believe it. That, who is that you are talking to? Where did you go?
Let me say something. There's a scripture. I'm a pastor, so there's a scripture that says it's better to live in the corner of the rooftop than with a nagging woman. Nagging does the opposite of what you know. Nagging, when women nag, they nag because they want the man to behave a particular way. Nagging has the exact opposite effect of what you want it to have. So the more you nag, the further away from you the man goes. The more you do, it withdraws from you. The more you lose your emotional connection because your nagging keeps him away. You know, so nagging doesn't do anything. Gosh, how many people? I can't tell you how many places we go where people are saying hi to my husband. I'm not even lying. I feel absolutely nothing. I can't even lie. I don't feel a thing. I'm not thinking, oh, she's prettier, she's slimmer. I don't feel a thing. I don't feel threatened because I have built this. I know how to make this work. No one else has a clue. I feel nothing.
She has the Wale code.
Yes, and I'm the only one who has it. So I'm not going to be thinking, oh gosh, she looks so fine. Oh gosh, she looks so slim. It means nothing. You know, the one that God gives you, you work on getting to know them. You work on being a partner, their team partner, working together. So your value increases as the years go by. But you must stick at it. And both parties must be committed to it. You know, the problem comes when one party is committed and the other is not. When one party is doing all the work and the other is not. If you will commit to doing the work together, and if you're in a situation, anyone listening to us, where you're struggling in your marriage and you guys want it to work, we will be happy to sit with you and talk to you. You must be committed to doing the work together. It's not one person doing all the work while the other one folds their arms and looks pretty. It's not. It's not.
Jennifer?
I think now, before I take questions from the chat box, there was a time I was seated with Pastor Taiwo at the table. And then it was around 9 o'clock. She had 1 hour and she was very sleepy, very sleepy. So she looked at the time and said, oh, I have 1 more hour to go. So I asked, why? What happened? No, I have to give Doc his medicine before, and the medicine was at 10 o'clock. So in my mind, in my Kenyan mind, I was like, Doc can walk. He knows where the medicine is. Doc, I have nothing against you. He knows where the medicine is. So if Pastor Taiwo, you wake him up, all of you are going to be up. Yet you would have maybe asked him to set his alarm, and then you'd go to bed and he will wake up and take his medicine. So my question is, what makes you sacrifice that much? And what are the reversed roles? What does Doc do for you to keep you awake at that hour just for his medicine?
So, for those who don't know, August 11, my husband had a massive heart attack, and God came through massively. He has no brain damage, no heart damage. It was a miracle. But because of that, there are certain medicines he's supposed to take. But my husband sleeps early. On a normal day, if there's nothing happening, by 9, he's already winding down. He wants to go sleep. He can hardly keep his eyes open. But now he had to take one of these medicines. He takes around 10. So most evenings, by 10, he's asleep. And, you know, talking about the alarm, even if the alarm comes on, because he's so tired, he will sleep through it. So because we're a team, I'm ready to stay up longer to remind him, not just remind him, because if I remind him, he will say, okay, yeah, I'll take it. No, go back to sleep. So because I understand that, I understand the system. You see, when he gets up at 2, I will sleep 2 more hours before I get up, 2 or 3 more hours. So because I understand that he sleeps early, and it's important to him that he sleeps early because of the way his schedule is, the way it does his time. I will wake up, I will stay awake longer and give him the medicine, because that's the only way I can guarantee that he will take it. I do it because I love my husband and want him to be healthy. I'm not thinking, because if you really love someone, and you know that this thing could hurt them, could hurt their health, could affect them in the long run, you will not be comfortable just put your hand and say, well, me too, I want to sleep. You think you can just sleep and then I'll just be awake? It is selfish. If you claim you love someone, it's selfish to be able to do something for them and not do it. Staying up an hour extra is little, is nothing compared to, I want this man, we have committed to each other that we're going to live long, healthy lives. I will do my part to help him to fulfill his part of the deal, if I can put it that way. So because I know that he sleeps early, he sleeps earlier than me. In fact, if you're talking to him, when we're watching those action movies that he was talking about, he only watches them for like the first 3 minutes, then he's asleep. So it's not like we're watching it to the end. He's going to watch that action movie for like the next 2 weeks. Each time he will rewind and say, I don't remember this part. And he keeps rewinding till he gets almost to the beginning, and then he watch it all over again. So because I understand him, I know that this is how he is. He sleeps early. It is such a little price to pay. And you know, if you claim you love someone, and it is such a burden to help them, to take something like that, to help them to take medicine and all that, you need to question what kind of love, because, you know, women, I want to be loved selflessly. If I cannot give of myself, and as far as I'm concerned, staying up an hour early, later is a small thing, such a small price to pay to make sure that my husband, gosh, I can't tell you the number of times when I'll tell him, baby, I'm just giving you this medicine. I was like, oh yeah, we'll fall asleep. So it would be responsible for me to say, well, I gave it to him. I've done my job, so I'm going to sleep as well. That doesn't help anybody, you know. So the way I see it is this: because I love him and I know him, I will go to any length possible to make sure that he's comfortable, he's healthy, and he's healthy. And that should be every woman's whatever. That I love my husband. I won't just watch them go downhill, make a mistake, do something. I won't know that if he doesn't take this thing, it could have a negative effect, and just watch him and say, don't take your medicine, you will know what will happen to you. No, that's not love. That's not love, you know. So that's and I was saying that my husband will go to any length to make sure that I am happy and comfortable. My husband will ask me on Sundays, baby, what do you want? Just what would you like? I always say is that I'm very, very low maintenance. I'm a low maintenance girl. I'm not, it doesn't take much to please me. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not the one who must bring diamonds and gold. Ice cream is fine. Let me think, gosh, a cookie is fine. I'm very low maintenance. So, but my husband will go to any length to see that I'm happy and comfortable. He was going to travel recently, and we were thinking maybe I stay back, because the tickets were now almost $1,000, and this is within Kenya. I mean, the returns. I was thinking maybe I stay behind, and my husband was like, no, we've already agreed we'll be doing this together. My husband will go, he will bend over backwards. He will do anything when it concerns Taiwo. If I ask for something, in fact, because I know it, I'm very, very careful how to ask for things, because if I even slightly mention that I'm thinking that I might want, once I begin to mention something, what he's hearing is, I must do this. I must do this. So sometimes he will ask me, you want to travel to this place? I say no, emphatically, because if I say, I'm thinking, he's going to go out of his way to make it happen. So, but you see, that's because he knows that I have his back. If there was a time when my husband bought me, he bought me 4 shoes. It's a long story, but I couldn't wear any of the shoes. They were too high. They were too high. They were the kind of things that my daughter would wear easily. I couldn't walk in them, even though I can wear high shoes. I couldn't walk in them. They were so high, you know, this whatever. But I'm just trying to show you where he saw something he liked, thought I would like it in the body. I'm like, I can't wear any of these things. I mean, I'm happy you got them, but I can't use them. He will bend over backwards. There is nothing that I want that he will deny me. But let me tell you this, if my husband if he has money on him and it is the last thing he has, and I ask for something, he will give me everything he has. Now, how do I know? Many times that happens, and then I say, oh, baby, I wanted to do this. Then he says, I gave you the last cash I have. We'll have to wait till tomorrow when this happens. When I check the account, when this app, recently we had an issue with his phone app or something. So that's when I realized, oh my God, he gave me everything he had. My husband does that all the time. There is nothing I ask for that I cannot have. There's nothing that is off limits. So when you have that, gosh, what else do you want? You know, why would it be so hard for me to give of myself, whatever it is, to make sure that this man is comfortable? So I'm always thinking of ways to let him know, I appreciate you. I see how hard you're working. I love you. And I appreciate what you're doing for us as a family. I'm always looking for ways to say that. I don't know if that answers your question, Jennifer.
Yes, it does. And we're almost running out of time. I may request that you bear with us. I have about 4 questions, maybe 3 questions that I need to cover on the chat. The first one, many men have not been taught. Women attend all seminars. Can we have something to help men before and after marriage?
Absolutely. And I think that's very important. We will make that happen. That's a promise. And, you know, in this organization, when I was with my pastor, you know, as my pastor's assistant, anytime the man was speaking and he said, we will do this, I knew we meant me. So in this case, when I say we will do it, don't worry, Jennifer will make it happen. So it will happen. Okay.
All right, thank you for that. Then there is it true that the more intelligent a lady is, the harder it becomes for them to find a spouse?
Very interesting question. Very, very interesting. I don't think it is necessarily because she's intelligent. It is when she allows that intelligence to define her. That is when she will run into problems. You know, if she carries that intelligence with grace and humility, she will not have a problem. Just the same way, if you carry your position, whatever, with grace and humility, you will not have a problem. But when that intelligence has got, everybody has told you are intelligent, and then even at home, you want to show that you're intelligent. You want to show the men you're intelligent, then you have problems. Yeah.
All right, then comment on couples who worship in different denominations, e.g. Catholic and Anglican, and how that impacts on the relationship.
Yeah, that's a, you know, some people have made it work. It's a tricky one. Some people have made it work, but how do you make such things work? Remember the example I gave about Taiwo cartoons and cooking show, Wale documentaries and Men Who Built America, and we find a common ground. So it could be that, you know, they found a common ground, and that covers up for that. All right, that's the way I look at that. Jenny?
Okay, so we also have, I have seen cases where the woman is the provider, but unfortunately could not have children. The husband then takes advantage of the situation to get involved in an affair that is sponsored by the resources brought in by the wife and neglects the family. How can one advise such a wife?
Wow. You know, there are times when I am asked questions and there is an internal struggle on which answer to give. She cannot have children. Now I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example of my sister-in-law. Okay? They had their babies when? They had been married for
7, I think.
They had been married for 27 years.
She was 52 when she did.
All right. Married for 27 years. She was 52. And then she was blessed with twins. All right. Now, the point I'm making here is this. The day we say, I do, we are committing to one another. That no matter what it is, we are going to join forces to defeat it. So, her husband joined forces with her. He's doing very well. You know, he's doing very well. He could have, but he's doing very well. And he was facing pressure from family, from his mother, you know. Was facing pressure. Guess what? Can you still hear me?
It's very low.
Okay, just 1 second. One second. There was a call coming in. Wait a bit. All right. You can hear now.
Yes.
Okay. Super. Yeah. Just wait. I need to do something. All right. I'll fix that. So guess what? They stood together. And it was such a glorious thing when their twins came, you know? So when you are getting married, you need to settle it in your heart that we are in this together. We will fight against anything together, and we will overcome it together. That is the commitment that you must make. Now, once you have made that commitment, guess what? God, because of the commitment, God will begin to show you different avenues that you can go. But that commitment is very, very important. Because let me tell you something. You decide, I'm going to go out. Then she now gets pregnant. And you have created your own version of the Middle East problem. You have an Isaac and an Ishmael, and you have just created fighting for generations to come. You know? So think ahead, think legacy, and make the right decisions. Jenny?
So the next question, Taiwo, you're so beautiful. How do you maintain a youthful appearance? This reminds me also, I watched on Chennai to Lagos, Kalpa and Tom's channel, when they were having the baby, and there was a nurse who was asking the sister to Tom to excuse them. So apparently the sister was the mother to Tom. So how do you maintain such a youthful appearance?
I was going to joke and say, you know, they say black don't crack, but that is just a joke because we're all black. I don't know. I don't know.
I can tell you, she doesn't hold grudges. She doesn't carry baggage. She swims every morning. She laughs a lot.
Back to my 10,000 steps.
She's back to her 10,000 steps a day. And most important, she doesn't carry baggage.
I don't.
And no,
like I told you, I'm very, like I told you guys earlier, I'm very low maintenance. I'm not, I watch my circle of friends, if you can call my friends, is very tight. I'm not that kind of person who say, no, this is my friend. No, they're not my friends. I know who my friends are. I'm very secure in who I am. That's one thing that you get to know once you get to meet me. I'm very secure in who I am. And I don't try to be who I'm not. I'm very easy. You say I look good, thank God. For my face, it's really Vaseline. Vaseline, you know, does a good job. I don't stress the small stuff. I don't. My daughter works for a skincare company, and so she sends me, sends me stuff and all that.
And she's upset that you don't use it.
Yes, and all that. But I think also that God has just done a great work in me. In 2020, for example, I was diagnosed with an incurable disease. God healed me. So God has been good. I'll say that much. God has been so good to me. And and I try to live a life that makes God continue to work through me. So I guess that makes it easy for me to stay young and stay healthy, if I can put that.
And you talked about your small circle of friends. I think that's important. A lot of relationships have been messed up because of friends. You're listening to too many voices. Hey, someone say, if I was the one, I can't take that. That's why you are not the one.
That's right.
That is exactly why you are not. Hey, Nobody can deal with me like that. It's all right. That's why you are not the one.
But let me say this, since we're talking about friends, particularly women, we need to be so careful of toxic friends. So many ladies have toxic friends
who appear like advisors.
People who have been so battered by life, by some man, and carry that hatred. So when they see you happy or about to get happy, they inject their toxicity. They tell you, oh, you better be very careful. Men from this particular part of the country, they never trust them. They're all liars. They're humanizers. They're this and that. Be very, very careful about those you call your friends. Be very, very careful. The people that you call your friends who, when something happens to you, will call somebody else to make fun of you. So we have to be very, very careful of our circle of friends. Be very, very be sure that those who you call friends, particularly for ladies, are those who have your back. Those who, if they hear that something has happened to you, they will jump in and try to help, in a godly manner, not adding fuel to the flames and making things worse. We have to be very, very, very careful. For ladies, and social media is not your, what's that word? Social media is not your advisor. Don't take counsel from people online who just say stuff, Be very, very careful where you're receiving advice from.
There's a proverb we have where we come from, that if somebody says, I'm going to buy you a shirt, you look at the one he's wearing to determine if you're going to say thank you. People are getting relationship advice from people who themselves are not in relationships. You're getting relationship advice from people who need advice, and a lot of people are speaking from their place of hurt, from their place of pain. I was working in Dar es Salaam and there was this lady said, oh, I can never get married. Men are useless. They cannot be trusted, blah, blah, blah. So I told her, I said, I'm a statistician and one man, I can bet you, one man has hurt you. That's a poor sample size of all the billions of men on the earth. And so we got talking. She was bitter because you know what? The man who hurt her had moved on. He was happy. He had gotten married. And I said, you see, but with the attitude you have, and we need maybe on Thursdays, we'll talk about this, how women sometimes actually push their men into the hands of waiting scavengers. Predators. So maybe we'll touch on that on Thursday. Jenny?
Ouch, that's a painful word to end with. I admire the friendship between you both. Doc, how can one build such friendship in marriage?
Communicate, communication. And I was saying that it is only in marriage that if the foundation is flawed, you can go back and build the foundation without bringing down the building. So if things are not working, we'll sit down and find out from ourselves what is going on. And you build the foundation. You communicate, talk about everything. Nothing should be off limits.
That's important. Nothing should be off limits.
And if if there are areas where when you think of talking to your spouse about it, you're like, oops, I can't. That's the area that you need to talk about. If there's something that when you think about it, your heart skips a bit like, gosh, I can't tell him that. That's the thing that you need to bring. Communicate, be open, and be intentional in your relationship. Be intentional, do intentional things. Maybe you have date nights together. Maybe you have times when you take time out, have whatever it is that works for you, whether it is me time together. My husband and I, like what he said, the children have left, so it's just us. We spend a lot of time together, but we also have a lot of time apart, even though we're in the house together. And we are very conscious of each other's, should I say, each other's needs. So if my husband needs something, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure he gets it. If I need something, we'll do the same. So we talk about everything. Swimming time, for example, is a time when But when we're in the pool, we'll talk. He'll tell me, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'll tell him, this is what I think we should do. We give ourselves inputs. Nothing is off limits. So there's no place for there to be stagnant water. We air everything. We air, we air everything. We don't hold anything back. We communicate, and when he learns something new, tells me, I take it in as well. So we're continually strengthening our foundation. We're continually building this relationship to make it stronger.
And it's important, you do realize that we cannot have that if we have not developed that compatibility we started with in the beginning. Those 4 levels of compatibility: spiritual compatibility, emotional compatibility, social compatibility, and intellectual compatibility. All right, so that makes it easy for us to talk about anything, to communicate, and I will say this: communication, and maybe we'll talk more about this, is so crucial. There was this couple who, they ended up getting violent. And when they got to their pastor, the pastor said, "What happened?" And you won't believe, she said, "He did not give me chewing gum." Chewing gum? And you've beaten each other blue and black like this? But you know what had happened? So many things were going on. They had suppressed, they had suppressed, they had suppressed, they had suppressed. So finally, one day, when that chewing gum incident happened, it just triggered off so many things. And that's what led to the violence. Let me tell you something. One of the beauties of dealing with things as they come, and once you deal with it, it's over, is that you will not ever have a reference point in future. That is how 2 years ago you did this. Last year you did this. Yeah, you did this. You know why? Because you have dealt with it, so they know more. You've removed the power of that incident to be a reference point. And once you've removed its power to be a reference point, it cannot work against your relationship anymore. Jenny?
So thank you, everyone. I'll just, from Dr. Josphat, this is powerful and empowering. I think I've read most of the other questions and comments. There was one, someone said it is sad to want a wife to be a submissive provider. So would you want to comment on that, Doc?
That's just a good one.
Okay, so I think we'll close on that. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And you can come back to us. Please leave your questions on our Facebook page, The Street University. Tell us if you what kind of sessions or questions you would want us to cover going forward in terms of family and marriage. Is it more of the men's side? Is it couples together or women? So at least let us know that, so that we can also plan. Now that Doc has already pushed it to me. And there's someone asking, how can we get a recording for this session? And then there's great insight, learned a lot. So thank you, everyone, for your patience with us. I'm sure it was you have learned as much as I've learned, and I look forward to the Thursday session myself. I didn't even get to cover all the questions that I had for today. So we continue on Thursday, 6 p.m. Nairobi time. Doc and Pastor Taiwo, thank you very much for sharing with us your journey, your stories, and we look forward to more on Thursday. So please invite everyone else you had not invited. We all want to be educated, and we want to make our homes better. So thank you very much. And Doc, Yeah, a parting shot before we go.
Marriage works when you work it.
Yeah, that says it all.
All right. So one last comment. Thank you so much, Doc and Pastor Taiwo. Thank you to Jenny. Thank you. Doc, your hand has been on Mama since the beginning. Yeah, Peter, you noticed, I did. And Pastor had said he's very touchy-touchy. It is confirmation. I pray for this kind of friendship in marriage. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a good evening.
All right, bye.
Time to celebrate. My God who's been so great. I lift my voice and sing, sing, Hosanna to my King. It's time to celebrate. My God who's been so great. I lift my voice and sing, sing, Hosanna to my King. You've turned my life around.